Kell Brook, for a lot of us boxing fans, is seen as such a sad tale. Brook was a huge reason to why British boxing returned to its biggest boom period since the 1990s of the Eubank and Ben era of boxing. So this story starts when Kell Brook would dethrone Sean Porter to become welterweight champion in a true upset. Following the fight, 2 weeks after his crowning moment inside of the squared circle, Brook would have his biggest battle of his life, when on the 4th of September 2014, whilst on holiday with his pregnant wife in Tenerife, Brook would be left battling to save his own life after he would be stabbed 4 times whilst out on a night out. Kell would be able to make a full recovery and would return to the ring in winning ways, picking up 3 consecutive stoppage victories to defend his welterweight title in convincing fashion. So after destroying Kevin Bizier inside just 2 rounds and being ranked at the time as the #1 welterweight in the world, Kell Brook, backed by his promoter Eddie Hearn, would look to unify the welterweight division when they would enter negotiations to unify against WBO champion Jesse Vargas, who was coming off a career best win over Saddam Ali in stunning fashion, whereas another one of Eddie Hearn's fighters was looking to replicate what his own dad had done before him by becoming middleweight champion of the world when he was scheduled to face off against the middleweight monster in Gennardy Golovkin, who had stopped every one of his 16 opponents since becoming middleweight champion. After a lot of back and forth from the Eubank Jr. team, the fight would be off, with Golovkin signalling that Eubank Jr. had lost his pen in fear than rather face off against him, and Kell Brook's scheduled unification fight with Jesse Vargas would suffer the same fate, as at the time the political landscape in Britain would bleed over into the boxing world as the UK would leave the EU, making the fight impossible from a financial point of view for Jesse Vargas. After such disappointment of losing 2 potentially excellent fights, with what was just a joke from Kell Brook's promoter Eddie Hearn, who would make a throwaway comment about Kell Brook moving up 2 weight classes to face off against the most feared middleweight since Marvin Hagler in Gennardy Golovkin, Kell Brook would take the place of Eubank Jr. without any hesitation to save the show.
And when I look at the numbers that Eubank was going to make for fighting Golovkin, and then I look at the numbers that Kell Brook was going to get for fighting Vargas, that's when I said to him, it's a shame you just won't fight Golovkin. And he said, I'll fight Golovkin.
Did you say it a little bit tongue-in-cheek? Like, it's not tongue-in-cheek, but a little bit half-serious, not half-serious?
I asked the question hoping that he would say, or he'd be inquisitive and he'd want more, you know, he'd want to talk more about Golovkin, because at that stage, we hadn't heard back from the Eubanks, and I was really pissed off that I'd put all this work in only to lose the opportunity to bring this fighter to the UK. So when I said to him, you know, looking at the money for this Golovkin fight, it's a shame that, you know, you won't fight him. And he said, no, I'll fight him. And we had this discussion before, sitting over there after the Khan thing. He said to me, make the Golovkin fight for me. That was when Khan boxed Canelo.
To many critics in the boxing world, from fans and even one of the sanctioning bodies of Golovkin's titles in the WBA, who withdrew its sanctioning for the fight between Golovkin and Brook, although in the first place they had granted Golovkin a special permit to take this fight, they would state that their title would not be up for stake in this showdown. The reason for the withdrawal was because Brook had never competed in the middleweight division, with the WBA president Gilberto Mendoza Jr. saying, "What I regret the most is that there is no boxer in the 160-pound division who will face off against Triple G, and Brook has to move up 2 weight divisions to face off against him." So a matchup for the unified WBC, IBF and IBO middleweight world titles would be set for the 10th of September 2016 at the O2 Arena in London, England. This would be Golovkin's 17th world title defence and Kell Brook's first outing at middleweight. The fight would get off to an electric start, with Golovkin coming out aggressively on the front foot, going as far as to buckle the legs of Kell Brook in the first round. Golovkin would be met with stiff resistance from Brook, who began to fire back, connecting with clean combinations on Golovkin, none of which were able to phase him.
Figure it out.
Triple G is #1 in the sport by copy box count in landing jabs. There's a good uppercut for Brook. There's a right hand for Brook. And now Golovkin.
And he should have been moving, but he stayed there and got hit with a right hand. How to avoid that right hand is not be on the ropes. If he continues to on the ropes, this will happen.
That was the biggest moment of round 1 when Brook reached out and grabbed Golovkin to pull him to him after the 2 left hands. There's the uppercut that landed for Brook, and there's the right hand.
In the second round, Brook would have his greatest success of the fight, landing an excellently timed well combination to push back the seemingly unbeaten Golovkin for the first time in this fashion in the Kazakh's career. But in this process, Kell Brook would suffer from his right eye being broken by Triple G.
Triple G is coming in.
Uppercut by Brook. Crowd comes out of its seats, excited by the uppercut. Brook getting in some heavy shots here in round number 2. Golovkin gets in a right hand over the top, but Brook comes back with a 4-punch combination.
So over the next 3 rounds, Golovkin began to break down Brook. Brook showed so much courage and determination and a great chin as he absorbed the bulk load of Golovkin's onslaught while still hanging in there with the middleweight champion, trading leather for leather with Golovkin.
Hard right hand by Golovkin.
But not be leery or worry about the jab because he's so confident that he can hit Brook and maybe hurt him.
Clean right hand there and landed a glancing blow. If he had landed it solidly, he could have hurt Golovkin.
I think he is hurt.
Yesterday, maybe thinking again that they were onto something. But Golovkin keeps bearing in and putting pressure on Kell Brook here in round 3.
If you look at Brook's right eye, it's starting to swell badly. And Triple G just threw a left and a straight right on that same eye with the left hand.
And Brook comes back aggressively, winning the admiration of the crowd.
Seeing a position of throwing the right hand, which he did, a right hook that came around, throwing the same right hand and getting justice with it by throwing combinations after the jab. He's actually putting in good boxing, but not running. Boxing, moving, punching, slipping. Every now and then, Brook stays on the ropes and he pays the price. And his corners continue to tell him, don't be on the ropes, be in the center of the ring, or keep moving left to right. As you see on the ropes, Triple G has a shot when he's on the ropes.
Damage from the shots they've landed in the first 3 rounds. Golovkin is trying to hammer Brook to the liver one more time.
Dropper much cleaner. See the shoulder effect.
Despite this, Brook's trainer, Dominic Ingle, would throw in a towel to protect his fighter's damaged right eye, ending the fight in the 5th round with both boxers still standing.
3-1, Golovkin. And Golovkin delivers his fiercest rally of the fight. Now he lashes out and manages to knock Golovkin back with a couple of clean shots.
He leaves himself to get countered like he just did with a straight right. And I believe he's hurt with this, and now Triple G is going to keep him there if he can.
As he did in round number 1.
And yes, he is. He's pop-shotting right now, as you see a straight right.
And Dominic Ingle in the far corner is holding up a towel. Ingle is trying to get referee Marlon Wright to stop the fight, and now he finally throws the towel into the ring, and Gennardy Golovkin is going to have a technical knockout victory.
After a rousing and entertaining middleweight fight between Gennardy Golovkin, who would increase his impressive record with another stoppage to 36-0 with 33 knockouts, and Kell Brook would suffer the first defeat in his boxing career to that date, and also a detached retina to his right eye, which would see him take a lengthy spell away from the sport to fix this injury. After such a valiant effort, Kell Brook's stock had risen massively across the world of boxing. Kell Brook, at the height of his popularity, would make the bold decision to move back down to welterweight to defend his welterweight title against the up-and-coming American superstar Errol Spence, who would go on to stop the weight dream Brook in the 9th round, with Brook suffering another detached retina, but now in his left eye. The career of Kell Brook would never be the same again, as he would fail to reach the heights that his career were previously at before taking the fight against Golovkin. Brook was seen as a true fan's favourite, and this was such a sad beginning of the end for Kell Brook and his boxing career.